Creative Mornings, Virginia Beach. Jeff, when you're ready, come up too. I'm Kate Hinton. I am your host for Virginia Beach Creative Mornings. We have Tessa here, who is one of our co-founders, and we're in her beautiful space called the Garage BB. We have Rachel here, who is our very talented artist of many trades, primarily ceramics, but she's also our photographer. And then we have Jeff here, who's on the videography. And so we want to just introduce the team. Those that are not with us today are Robert Fidash from Brand Fuel, and also Sunny Peoples, who is part of our Virginia Beach Arts and Communities Commission, and also part of the Creative Mornings team. So welcome this morning. Real quick, we're going to run through our slides. You guys could go run off and go do Tessa. If you want to stay here, you're going to read the creative. So the theme this month is perspective. We're really excited to find new ways to use these themes. And so Jimmy here, our guest speaker, is going to be talking about perspective from a really literal perspective, I think. But each of these themes has lots of different meanings to each person, and so we're welcoming you here to learn about them together. Bring a friend, make a friend. We definitely want you to be bringing some friends. We've been having about 25 to 40 people each month. We want to see that grow. The only other chapter in Virginia is Richmond, and they get like 200 people. So we want to keep upping our ante around here. There are 238 chapters all across the globe. So 69 different countries, over 27,000 people a year are participating in Creative Mornings, and so we're really happy to have you here. But don't forget that this is just one site. So there are thousands of videos online that you can tap into in cities all across the world. So take advantage of that. They also host field trips, which are kind of deeper dives and panel discussions online that you can participate in as well. All right, Tessa, what's your job today? The Creative Mornings Manifesto.
Ready. Oh, my work for me.
Ooh.
Everyone is creative.
You guys can read along. Everyone is creative.
Creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in getting it done. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in love and by process. We bring people together. Oh wait, sorry. A lot of work. Driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Okay. We'll get better at that. In church. Get rid of that. Okay. Let me go ahead and introduce Jimmy, our guest speaker. Jimmy and I have known each other for several years now around the Vibe and have participated in some fun projects in terms of capturing the evolution of the neighborhood with all the public art. We've done some things, sneaky things around the neighborhood. Sometimes we're like, don't tell anyone what we're doing. But we're really excited to have him because Jimmy has traveled the world literally with his art form and with his drones. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and his life story as it relates to perspective. But if you need a man with a drone, he's a good guy to call. I can attest to that. And we're just really pleased to have you. So thank you for coming. I'm going to pull up your video, so don't start talking until I get your video up, right?
Is this good to be on this side or this one? Oh, that's right.
Maybe Jimmy, come on the other side so you're kind of in the center.
This is better.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, it's more
Is that
open.
better?
Okay, well, thank you very much. When Kate, I've been keeping an eye on Creative Mornings, and when Kate asked me to be a speaker, I jumped on it right away because I like people, I like community, I like telling stories, I like to meet new people. So, that's an important thing. The theme is perspective, not only perspective in photography, but also perspective in life and the things that how experiences shape our thought and our world. That has changed me a lot. I grew up in a little background. I grew up in New York City. I have a little history with Virginia Beach. I think I moved here in the 10th or 11th grade, graduated Cox High School, and as soon as I graduated, I went right back to New York, you know. But then I found myself, you know, back here again, you know. So this has always been a home. And I remember when I used to vacation here in Virginia Beach, and I used to bring like 17th Street surf shop clothing back to the city, and people thought it was crazy. I was wearing these hot pink swim shorts and these 17th Street surf shop t-shirts, and they were like, what are you doing? You know, who is this guy? You know, gee, what happened to you? But let's talk about, I guess, when I was a kid growing up, my uncle used to bring over to my grandparents' house VHS tapes, or my grandmother's apartment, VHS tapes with movies filmed on them. And that's where I found my love for film. And, you know, I always felt like, hey, I would love to be in this industry. I didn't get into drones. Well, I got into drones in about 2007. A friend of mine had created a startup and asked me to join. And in 2007, I was just, you know, doing photography, but more like personal, you know, fun stuff. I was in advertising and marketing. So he brought me in, and we created a company, and I brought that company to Good Morning America. I brought that company to all these different popular mechanics. I mean, we got interviewed. We were like the first aerial photography and cinematography company in New York City. And that helped propel us to getting in the industry. We were filming in LA. They were flying us out to LA because around that time, between 2007 and 2012, not many people were in this industry. It was a very hard industry to get in because we didn't have the drones for everyone, which was right here. This drone is kind of a drone that you could buy at Best Buy, and you could take some amazing images with it. But this wasn't around back then. So, with that being said, this opened up a lot of opportunities to work with companies like Lego. They had us fly around when the new Superman movie came out with Henry Cavill. They sent us like 20 Superman minifigures, and they had us mounted on the front of a drone and fly around New York City. So that was a really fun spot with Lego. And I worked with X-Files, where they wanted to, when they were bringing back the show, they had these swag boxes, and you might see a picture here of a drone and a box with an X on it. They had us fly, inside the box they put like a bobblehead, a t-shirt, X-Files swag. And they created this campaign where people on Twitter would say that they want, that's the vibe, where people on Twitter would say they wanted a X-Files box. And as soon as they replied, they would call us and say, okay, and we were in a black van, we had like security guarding the van, and as soon as they said, this is the apartment you have to fly to, we flew and then dropped, and they couldn't see us, we flew and we dropped the box at that apartment, the people waited outside, and it was just a great event. So, a lot of fun things with drones. Oh, real quick, I know I'm jumping around, but this is a dark cinematic series that I took on Back Bay, but it just shows, the perspective that you can get with your drones and the different colors and editing. But that was a very special job, and I get a lot of orders for prints for that. Oh, there's drone. This is using drone lights, and one of the dancers is here, Jessica. Wave hi, yeah. But this is using drone lights. So we put a LED lights on a drone, and then we shot long exposure photography, and we filmed dancers, at the beach. So that was a fun little job. And here's, of course, the vibe. But just going back to my career, in 2017, I ended up forming my own company, Lifted Media, and it just took off from there, basically. And we're able to work with new customers, old customers that we had. Let me tell you, this is a barn. Oh, this is a funny story. Somebody thought that was a marijuana bud on a table, but it's actually a tree. So that's what perspective can do, right? I mean, people thought that was a marijuana bud. It's kind of crazy. But it was actually just a tree in a field on a tobacco farm. So anyway, my career has taken me everywhere. I fly everywhere. We shoot creative projects, commercials with Subaru. it's just it's an amazing thing. The one thing I love about drones is that I get to stay on the ground. I don't have to be in a plane or helicopter shooting photography. So you could actually, you're safe. Number one, you're safe on the ground while the drone's in the air, and you're just trying to find new angles. This is the Hip Hop Museum that's yet to open in the Bronx in New York. And as you can see, we're getting angles that you really can't get with other forms of media. So that was a special project for our team, and hopefully they will have us out again. This one right here, these are the monopiles that go out offshore wind turbines. Oh, there's Jessica again. Another low altitude drone shot. Those are just examples of some low altitude drone shots that you can get. You can use a drone just as a regular camera sometimes. But so my career has taken me as a business owner. It has taken me highs and lows. There's sometimes, we have a lot of business, and sometimes you're just reaching out and trying to stay active and stay creative. That's the one message I want to tell you guys is like, if you're creative and you have your own business and the phone's not ringing, go out there and create relationships with other people so you can stay active in your community. And you might not be making money, that's okay. You want to create something special. So what I try to do is I try to pick different businesses and organizations. Hey, do you need content? We'd love to come and create content for you. And when I'm not busy, that keeps me from being depressed. Or I'm not working, it keeps me from being active in the community. And that's the great thing about the entrepreneurial community is everybody is, rooting for each other, and everybody's active in some sort of, meetings or meetups. So you're always invited to new things, and it's very important. COVID really hit us hard. We lost a large contract with a major New York sports team, 2 of them, during COVID, because at that time there were no fans allowed, so we lost a large contract. But sitting at home, just revamping and trying to refocus, reframe, I was able to purchase a agriculture drone that sprays pesticides, organic pesticides on, plants and agriculture. But I didn't use it for that. I actually use it to clean for COVID-19. So we put COVID-19 cleaner into the spray drone, and we sprayed down convention centers, stadiums. So that lasted as long as that whole COVID thing. And then once that ended, I just sold the drone to a farmer who drove all the way from Pennsylvania to my house in Virginia Beach. And he comes out the car looking like a big time farmer with overalls. His hair is in all tussles and everything. And he bought the drone, trained him how to use it. Now he's out on his farm, patrolling his own farms and cleaning up his crops and spraying his crops down. So that's pretty cool. But also I was involved in the offshore wind program here in Virginia, documenting the construction of it. So that was during COVID. So that kind of kept us going. A lot of people, the environment is a big issue with that. But I can tell you, while I was out there, there was a lot of there was a ship, an environmental ship that was patrolling the construction, and then I saw a blue canopy that they laid out in the water, and that was to protect wildlife and things like that. So there are things that are being done out there to lessen the impact on the environment. I'm not really to talk or be pro this and that, but the point is it was a job. We got a great job to dudocument the construction, and that kept us going. But yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs running your own business. I remember a couple of years ago, during that whole COVID, and then we had a writer's strike, so a lot of the TV shows that we worked on were canceled. I've worked on Beachfront Bargain Hunt, I've worked on, Drain the Oceans with National Geographic, and many other shows. A lot of these shows slowed down because of the writer's strike. And I remember my wife, a couple of years back, she was like, maybe you should, find a steady job, somewhere else. And that was the last time I saw her. But, no, just kidding, we're still having a marriage. But you know, that's just to show you the pressures of running your own business, you know, where you're trying to think about what you're going to do, but you have to stick with it. And that's what we did, and she's thankful that we stuck with it, you know. You know, it's tough. It's tough when you have a family and you're running a business, a service. I'm not selling, well, I am selling a product, but I'm more of a service-oriented business. So the point is that you have to stay busy, stay connected, and especially places like this, Creative Mornings, where we can meet other people. And I'm sure I'm going to talk to everybody, and we might email each other, and you never know, a project could come up where we can have fun together. You know, that's what we like to do. But that's the important thing. And Creative Mornings, obviously just some videos I've watched, and Kate here, you know, the Vibe District has helped me out a lot. Meeting people, getting business, just from shooting in the Vibe, I've gotten business from other companies in this area, just knowing Kate, so that's an important thing. But new projects I have coming up, next week I'm on the Eastern Shore filming a sustainable travel video for the Eastern Shore, Virginia, which is a place that I love going to and visit. But it's going to be a really great video. We're going to Tangier Island, and a couple of Wachaprague, and a couple other towns in Eastern Shore, showing the sustainability of the shore. And this is for a UK sustainability travel company. So they hired us, they hired a small crew to go out from Virginia Beach and film this video. So we're excited about that project. We're excited to keep going and keep moving forward. And let's talk about perspective again for a minute. I just got back from West Virginia a couple days ago. Well, actually not West Virginia, a town on the border, a Virginia town on the border of West Virginia. Now this town is famous for something, but not something to be proud of. They're famous for the opioid addiction there, and they were actually on a documentary. The client hired me to shoot commercial properties in the area. And after the shoot and after dinner, he asked me a question. He goes, "Jimmy, would you like to tour the teen center? We have a teen center here for underprivileged youth." And I was like, "Let's go." So he took me to the teen center, and I was amazed. They have their own podcast room. People are donating to this teen center. They have a podcast room. Some doctor donated maybe, I think they said $800,000, and he created an indoor skate park. Or they built an indoor skate park for the children there. And I brought out the drone, and we started flying around for the kids, and they were just loving it. A lot of the kids didn't have parents. Their parents, you know, died from this addiction. But to put things in perspective, I told them I would come back, and I would basically teach the kids how to fly drones and create a drone class for these underprivileged kids. And this is not to toot my horn or anything like that. It's just to showing, you know, how I'm trying to put my life in perspective and give back with something that I know and love, you know. And so that's an important thing that really helps to keep me grounded as well with my passion. I want to share it. I know there's a guy named Jason that's back here. We met him. We filmed a video for his company. He was so inspired that he's a licensed drone operator now, and he's getting into the creative side of the business. So, and that's an important thing. So I like to share. I like to teach. And anybody that has questions, I'm just open. You know, I like to talk to people, and if you have questions, if you have projects or any concerns or anything like that, you know, I'm always here to talk to you about it. And hopefully, you know, you learn something, you know. But yeah, so, you know, we showed some slides of some pictures. That was just running through some of the, you know, the jobs and the travels that I had. And I can't, you know, thank Kate enough for inviting me. And also, being in this business, photography, video, but also using a drone, it's just a super creative space for me to be in, and I'm thankful for it every day. I get to get up and do something that I love. I used to work for other people and other businesses, and I learned a lot from it, but there's nothing like working for yourself, because you make it or break it on your own back, you know, and you constantly have to change, pivot, and just with perspective, again, sometimes you have to reframe. Just like when you're taking a photo, you take a picture, you don't like it, you reframe. Same thing with your perspective. You want to reframe, and maybe you learn something new in the community, or learn something new about organizations, and you're there to reframe your perspective and help them out. and that's really important for Lifted Media. We try to be involved in a lot of different organizations, a lot of different groups, and one thing upcoming that I would love to see in Virginia Beach is a indoor drone facility. So drone racing is real, it's here, people are racing drones and winning prizes. Why can't Virginia Beach or Hampton Roads have an indoor drone facility where we can fly all year round? You're not worried about the weather. You're not governed kind of by the FAA because you're indoors, so the airspace is inside, so they can't control that, it's not a big deal. But we want to create like an indoor drone track where people can come and learn how to fly drones, or drone camps. If you have children, you can drop your children off for a couple hours and we're going to teach them and train them how to fly drones. That's one thing I'd like to see. And also, drone piloting is a viable career now. Companies are bringing this in-house. Before, nobody knew. Some people didn't even understand what we were doing. I got laughed off by a director. He was filming a commercial, I was talking about it, about creative using a drone. He didn't even know what it was, and he kind of laughed us off. And that was weird to me, you know what I mean? But, now it's everywhere. And it's actually a career, and children can grow up to be drone pilots. I think you have to be 16 years old to get your drone operator's license. Now that doesn't mean you know how to fly a drone, it just means that you can fly a drone to make money, and earn a living. So at 16 years old, kids can actually get into this, and I want to show people how this is a viable career. A lot of companies are bringing this in-house. Dominion Energy, they have in-house drone pilots. My friend moved from upstate New York to sunny Florida to fly for their power company. So he flies drones all day long inspecting power lines. So this is a viable career. You can actually, make a living from it. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm sticking with it. I'm not giving up. And I need you guys. I need you guys. I need the support from the community and people like Kate and Creative Mornings. And yeah.
Not all of us are familiar with the drone. Will you step by step show us your drone?
Oh yeah. So I just brought a little drone to bring along, but this is it's called the Air 3. It's called the Air 3. It folds up, as you can see. We can fold out the props, and there you go. So you have a camera here. It has two lenses on it. One is a zoom lens. One is about, I think it's a 24 millimeter equivalent lens. But this is a drone that is called the Air 3. It comes with a remote control with a screen, so you don't have to hook up your phone. And on the screen, you can actually see what the camera sees. Oh, so legally, yeah. So in New York, in the airspace in our country, it's governed by the FAA. So drones have a height limit of 400 feet. In some areas, it could be lower, 200 feet. You can also get waivers to go higher if you need to for certain jobs, and that has to be approved by the FAA. So as you can see, there's a beautiful photo of Kate, or video of Kate. So you can actually operate the drone with the sticks here and look at the screen to frame your photos and frame your videos and see what you're doing. So it's a very cool, creative outlet. This was a hobby before it was a job. I remember as a kid, my buddy, flying airplanes and remote control helicopters. They break. We have to go to, mail China to get the parts, wait months for the parts to come in, and then once they came in, we would fix the drone or the remote controlled aircraft, go back out in the field, break it again. So it was a hobby before it actually was a viable career. But also, I want you to know the drone career or drone piloting for cinema didn't just start recently. It's been going on since the 90s. There's a video out there with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Everybody knows who he is. So there's a video with Jean-Claude Van Damme where he is showing different creative cameras, and in one of the scenes, there's a camera. There's a guy on a motorcycle with a camera on the back. There's a camera on a wire. In one of the scenes, there's an RC remote controlled helicopter with a camera on it. being flown around movie set. This was, I think, in the 90s or early 2000 maybe.
Yeah, I'm giving this back to you.
Oh, yes!
I have a question. Because we're here at the beach, are there certain rules?
Yeah, there's definitely certain rules because we have the, thank you, by the way. I guess we can go into questions now, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So,
Mine first.
oh yeah, you're first. So we are at the ocean front, and because of the military, there's restrictions around here. So there's certain areas where you can fly, where you can't fly, where you have to get permission to fly. There's certain areas that you have a height limit of 100 feet, 200 feet. So there's ways to check that before you fly. There's apps that work with the FAA that have these maps already downloaded into the app, and you can check the airspace and see what needs to be done to fly there. One thing that we do, obviously, when we get hired for a job, we do our homework and we check the airspace first. This is like weeks before the job is to even be completed, to make sure we have the proper paperwork. But yeah, it's a great question.
And it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, so how do you compete? You can't have everybody in your drone during this parade. How does that work?
That's correct. So, well, that's something that's hard to manage. If I was hired by the city to film, yeah. So if you were hired, there's a lot of people that will do it just for their YouTube channel, things like that. Not a problem. But you have to just be aware of the airspace. I mean, if you're hired for the city to do the job, then you're going to have the proper paperwork, the proper licensing. There could be hobby people out there flying. I mean, it's something you can't control, but they're typically responsible. I've seen multiple aircraft flying at the same time, no crashes or anything like that. Typically, they're responsible and they know what they're doing.
Talk about collaborating with some other local artists. I know you've done some kind of cool tech projects. Think about skateboards with Seth and
Oh,
other
yes.
ways to highlight artistic creations.
Yeah, so we worked with Seth Louboutin. He's a muralist. He also built longboards, and we helped him shoot a video about his product, his longboard. So yeah, and working in the vibe, working with the muralist and the artist. Sometimes I'll work with like Oni Tony. Sometimes he'll call me to do some create some content for his murals. So we will work with local artists to help promote their art, and it's always, just a handshake, just a collaboration thing. So that's really important for us to push their craft as well. And it always comes back one way or another. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So I have so many questions, but I'm wondering if you can speak a little more to the role of the drone footage in film compared to like maybe a helicopter or something more traditional. I don't know anything about how things are shot for films on a road.
Good question.
Like, what's the percentage of drone use? Is it like a big cell, or are they like on drones instead?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, that is a big sell. Drones, helicopters have a great use. Helicopter filming, number one, is they don't have the battery limit that a drone has. They can also access other elevations that a drone can't. But the drone camera exists in a space that these other traditional cameras can't fly in. So you have new perspectives, new angles with the drone camera. It's heavily used in Hollywood, Star Wars, Game of Thrones. All your major films and TV shows are definitely using a drone. Some of my friends in LA are the guys that actually fly the drones, so it's definitely heavily used. It's a creative outlet, creative camera for the director. And now, does everybody know what FPV is, first person view? So this is where pilots fly with goggles on. So when you put the goggles on, you transform yourself into the cockpit of the drone. So you can see, you can hit gaps. I can pretty much fly through that chair, because you can see where you're going, and that's a lot closer, faster cinematic action. And they're using that type of drone medium on car commercials. It was on a movie called Ambulance. It was a movie called Ambulance where they hired this 19-year-old drone pilot to film this amazing scene. One take he did it in. The director said, listen, we're not doing this again, you have to get it right. The ambulance hit a curb or something, went into the air and the drone flew under it. So it was an amazing scene. But yeah, so when you're watching TV and you're gonna see these, these aerial shots, and typically it's done with a drone. You know, my kids don't like watching film with me because I'm always like, oh, drone shot. Yeah. So they don't like, okay, Dad, forget it. You know.
Jimmy, I have a question.
Yeah.
Man, I have 3 boys, and every time they see a drone, I may have like 7 crappy drones at my house. I bring them to you, and you can tell me like this one's trash, like this one will be okay. I mean, like I don't know what it is about little boys thinking that this $30 drone is going to be it, and then when it doesn't work, they like are heartbroken. And I have them all with all the batteries. I mean, like let's talk.
Let's throw them all out.
Oh,
We're gonna get you some new ones.
Done. All right.
No, yeah. You can
And
let
I
me know.
tell them that the professional drone guy told me to throw it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get you set up with some really. I mean, there's a drone out there for $99.
Yeah.
That is a great drone, beginner drone for a child.
Okay, great.
You know, the Tello. You know, it's a DJI Tello drone, and they're using it, you know, for school, for STEM programs, things like that. $99. You use your iPhone. It's pretty easy to follow. They can do this. Yeah. Yes. Oh, you know what? That's a great question. I was actually on the Project Managers with Intel for their drone light shows a couple of years ago for the holiday season for Walmart. So Intel created, Walmart approached Intel about creating a Christmas drone light show. And I was hired on as a project manager of our team to operate the drones. So we operated 1,000 drones in various cities and stadiums for the Christmas holiday season. Families would come in with their cars, park in the parking lot, and put the radio on, and they would play the music, and the drones would walk. So all that is controlled via computer, is controlled through different programs. The choreographers will design the drone light show and movements of drones, and then it downloads into the drones. So we can download all that software to the drones. They know what they're doing. It's really just hitting stop. And that's a big thing too coming out. Yeah, they're trying to replace fireworks. But it is cool seeing a light show and created by drones. It's a very unique thing. Great question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And it seems like you do the same way. So you worked for all of these big companies. You mentioned Lego and shooting a commercial for them. And so when you're working on these projects where you are coming from the position of drone operator, how much like creative license or partnership do you have with these companies who are asking you to do this? Like, are you able to sort of contribute from a creative perspective, or is it mostly like they're hiring you for like a logistical type role?
So most of it is logistics, because when you're filming a movie, the director will have a shot list. Most people will give me a shot list, but I call a shot list a wish list, because I'm the pilot, they're the creative people maybe, and this is what they want from the drone. I have to look at the list and be like, okay, this can't be done, this can be done, this can be done, this can't be done. So it is a logistics thing. They do give you creative license sometimes. Sometimes the B camera, the A camera would be the main camera with the talent. The B camera can have talent too. And then once we shoot all those scenes, then it's like, Jimmy, this day you're by yourself and your team. Go out and be creative. So sometimes they give you license. Sometimes they use the shots, sometimes they don't. I've seen them, either way. One interesting job I did was a movie on Netflix right now. It's called The Pale Blue Eye. And it's a gothic horror film, great movie, with Christian Bale. The filming took place in Pennsylvania, but the story actually took place in upstate New York. So what they had me do was take a drone and map Storm King Mountain in upstate New York. And I mapped Storm King Mountain with this company in Baltimore, and they were able to create a 3D mountain that they gave to production. And when you see this one scene in the film where this girl jumps off a mountain, that isn't actually really there. That's CGI, you know. So that was an interesting project. So that's one thing that drones can do as well. You know, you can map a structure and you can create a 3D model. So that's pretty interesting. Any other questions? Anyone? Yes?
Sorry. In your downtime, like, do you experiment, like, with how to use the drones or different shots that you want to do, or is that just, like, what is your, like, experimental procedure?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Downtime, when you're not working for a client, I'm either working with other businesses to be creative, but also practicing drone moves, testing out different drones and other pieces of equipment. Because you can actually attach other cameras to the drone and you can do some crazy stuff. So yeah, we do practice. We try to fly daily. I'll put up a drone, I try to put up a drone every day just to, make sure everything's working good, just flying for fun. But yeah, we definitely do that. It's definitely a thing.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. All right, before we let you all come up and ask questions and disperse, we would love to get a group photo. So anyone who's willing to be in the group photo, come on up. We'll get a big shot with the whole crew, with this table out of the way, and then we'll let you go. Thank you.